let it go. I'll be there when you call. And whenever I fall at your feet, you let your tears rain down on me. Whenever I touch your slow turning pain, whenever I fall, whenever I fall, whenever I fall, whenever I fall, you're hiding from me now. There's something in the way that you're talking. Words don't sound right, but I hear them all moving inside you. Go. I'll be waiting when you call. And whenever I fall at your feet, you let your tears rain down on me. Whenever I touch your slow turning pain, whenever I fall, whenever I fall, whenever I fall, whenever I fall, the finger of blame has turned upon itself, and I'm more than willing to offer myself. Do you want my presence or need my help? Who knows where that might lead whenever I fall.
There must be something in the water, and there must be something about your daughter.
Come down, selector.
This one goes out to you and yours. Worldwide, I say, hey, I'll be gone today, but I'll be back on around the way. Seems like everywhere I go, the more I see, the less I know. But I know one thing, that I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. I've been a lot of places all around the way. I've seen a lot of joy and I've seen a lot of pain, but I don't want to write a love song for the world. I just want to write a song about a boy and a girl. Junkies on the corner always calling my name, and the kids on the corner playing ghetto games. When I saw you getting down, girl, I hope it was you. And when I look into your eyes, I knew it was true. I said, hey, I'll be gone today, but I'll be back from around the way. It seems like everywhere I go, the more I see, the less I know. But I know one thing, that I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. Now I'm not a highly metaphysical man, but I know when the stars are aligned, you can bump into a person in the middle of the road, look into their eyes and you suddenly know. Rocking in the dance hall, moving with you, dancing in and out in the middle of June. My mama told me don't lose you, cause the best luck I had was you. I said, hey, I'll be gone today, but I'll be back from around the way. It seems like everywhere I go, the more I see, the less I know. But I know one thing, that I love you. I love told me don't lose you, 'cause the best luck I had was you. And I know one thing, that I love you. I say, hey, I'll be gone today, but I'll be back, come around the way. It seems like everywhere I go, the more I see, the less I know. I say, hey, I'll be gone today, but I'll be back, come around the way. It seems like everywhere I go, the more I see, the less I know. But I know one thing, that I love you. Baby girl, I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. Rockin' in the dance hall, moving with you. Rockin' in the dance hall, moving with you.
Come on, hey Papa, hey Papa, hey Papa, shoot.
Caffeine, small talk, laid up the plastic weather. Discussing current events. I'll take my time. I'm not the forward thinker. You read my mind, better to leave it unsaid. Why can't I leave it unsaid? You know I talk too much. Honey, come put your lips on mine and shut me up. We can blame it all, human nature. Stay cool, it's just a kiss, so why you gotta be so talkative? I talk too much, we talk too much. You know my type up across the table. I can't keep holding my breath. New wave, no time, red velvet on to pressure. Blah blah, green eyes, I never leave it unsaid. Why can't I leave it unsaid? You know I talk too much. Honey, come put your lips on mine and shut me up. We can blame it all, human nature. Stay cool, it's just a kiss, so why you gotta be so talkative? I talk too much, we talk too much. Silence is golden, and you got my hopes up. We talk too much. No hesitation, what are we waiting for? We talk too much. You know I talk too much. Honey, come put your lips on mine and shut me up. We can blame it all, human nature. Stay cool, it's just a kiss, so why you gotta be so talkative? I talk too much, we talk too much. Ray-Bans on, that sky's blue. Cannonball into the pool. Drinking hand, gon' act a fool like sha-la-la. Boombox playing that third eye blind. Wife is sipping that rosé wine. I just lost all track of time like sha-la-la. My truck AC is broken, that Georgia breeze is blowing. I'm feeling easy going, that's right. I feel good today, can't nobody bring me down. And I just got paid, and I think I'm gonna hit the town. Yeah, my problems can wait till tomorrow, 'cause I feel good today, yeah. Can't nobody bring me down, 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 down. Can't nobody bring me down, 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 down. Can't nobody bring me.
Excuse me, can someone bring the beat back?
My team won in overtime, and I'm 3 sheets on Bud Light Lime. Don't taste good, but that's alright now. And it ain't even Saturday, but I'm gonna celebrate. So don't you rain on my parade now. No, no. My truck AC is broken, that Georgia breeze is blowing. I'm feeling easy going, that's right. I feel good today, can't nobody bring me down. And I just got paid, and I think I'm gonna hit the town. Yeah, my problems can wait till tomorrow, 'cause I feel good today, yeah. Can't nobody bring me down, 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 down. Can't nobody bring me down, 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 down. Can't nobody bring me down, 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 down. Can't nobody bring me down, 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 down. Can't nobody bring me down.
I feel good, James Brown. Turn the lights low, turn the music up loud. Got a full party going on back at the house. Bunch of big booty girls, yeah, they come.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday morning. You are in the right place. I am so excited for this conversation. So as you know, we've moved the format for the coaching call to a monthly call. And then as a result of that, we're bringing in a guest to interview to talk about their story, about their experience. And I would say the good, bad, and the ugly, raw conversation about where they were and how they got to where they are. And I'm excited about this conversation today. This person, our guest, Marylee Gilchrist, I've known her for nearly 30 years. I did not know her over those years as well as I know her now, but we met way back in the day when she was newer in the business, although we'll find out how long she's been in the business. And it's been fun to watch not only where she was then, but also where she is today. And I am so grateful that she's decided to give us some of her time today to share her story. I know this, that even though she's in the business of mortgages, and she's been doing that for many years, the fact is that she's going to have a lot to say about personal development, about growth, and about success. And even though her experience has been in mortgages specifically, I know that what she's going to talk about applies to no matter what it is that you do, particularly if you're in real estate. So having said that, let's invite her to join us and we'll get the conversation started. So Marylee, are you there? You ready to get started?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today.
Of course, you bet. And look at you rocking the hot pink, as you always do so well. Well, look, I don't think that you are, but if there are any nerves, the good news is this. I always tell all of our guests that there are no wrong answers, because really, I'm just going to ask you some questions about your experience and your story, and nobody knows your experience and your story better than you do. There are no wrong answers because you're the one telling the story. So if anybody should be nervous, I'm the one who should be nervous, because I'm here with the Marylee Gilchrist.
Whatever.
So let's start first of all with this, because I want to do just a little segment here as we get started just on who you are. So tell us first of all, where were you born? Where did you grow up?
Okay, I was born in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I
Okay.
grew up.
Not many people get to say that,
I know that's true, and live to say it. No, just kidding.
right? Seriously.
I was actually born there and only lived there for about 8 months, and then
Okay.
and then moved to Phoenix for a couple of years, and then home to where my parents grew up, which is Carson, Alberta, Canada.
All right. So you would say that you're a Canadian girl.
I actually have dual citizenship, so yes,
You do.
Yeah,
Very cool.
The only
That's
thing
great.
I can't do in Canada is vote.
Okay.
But
How far over the border is that?
About 25 minutes from the Montana
Okay.
border. It literally, I-15 goes straight to it.
All right. So does that put you close to Kalispell, Great Falls?
Mhm.
Then?
Yeah,
Okay.
Kalispell, Flathead Lake.
Kalispell.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very,
Yeah.
very cool. All
Very
right.
beautiful. If anybody ever wants to get into the most beautiful lake up there, Flathead Lake is unbelievable.
It is. Okay. All right. Okay. So you grew up in Canada and then made your way south. So tell us a little bit about that. How did you end up in the United States? And
Well, I did not like the cold. I mean, Utah's not cold. Canada's
right. Yeah,
cold.
of course. Not compared to where you're from.
Like -40 with the wind chill factor. So
Yeah.
I said at 18, I'm getting out of here. I packed my car and literally by myself and moved to Arizona.
Did you really?
Yeah.
So you went to the exact opposite.
Yep. I had it, excuse me, I had an aunt that lived there. So I had at least one relative that lived there. And I just said, I'm going to the warmth. And so I literally packed my car up, did not know anybody, rented an apartment. And yeah, and got a job at Hilton Mortgage when I was 18 and a half.
So we have some time, but I just want to, because I know that story. I don't know how much of that you want to share about how you actually got into the mortgage business, but
Yeah.
you were, didn't you go down there? Were you a student at ASU or you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I needed a job. And so I went and applied for a receptionist job at a place called Hilton Mortgage in Mesa, Arizona, as a receptionist. So they hired me. So I did, back then, you used to have to type up verification of employment and deposit. So I would answer phones and type the verifications of employment and deposit and run around and do everything for everybody else. So just, it was really kind of fell into the career. It wasn't supposed to be a career. It was just a job to get me through college,
Right.
university. So
Right. And then one thing led to another, and that job turned you into a how many year career?
well, that was 1984. So 41, going on 41 years.
That is incredible. So
Yeah.
what you're saying is that you got into the business when you were 3. I don't know how that works.
Of course I did. Yeah.
That's fun. So in the business for over 40 years,
Yeah.
and you've reached some pretty spectacular heights. Those who don't know a lot about the mortgage business, as I recall, there are about 350,000 mortgage loan officers in the nation. Is that about right?
No, it's a lot less now.
Is it?
Yeah.
So how many do we have now?
I think you're more like 80,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's dramatically reduced.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I could be wrong on that, but I think it's quite about less.
okay.
Yeah.
But in the apex of your industry, there were hundreds of thousands of loan
Oh
officers,
yeah, for sure.
right?
Yeah,
And-
it's
and-
been weaseling down. It's going down and down and down because of the market, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. And there's called the Scotsman's Guide, and that is a guide that provides all sorts of information. But part of it is that they rank loan officers on a national level.
Correct. Yeah, they
And
do the top.
You've been
1%.
ranked in that.
I've been ranked in the top 1% for over 20 years. Yes.
So you've been ranked in the top 1% for all of those loan officers on a national level.
Correct. Yes.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is incredible.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
So the question is, how is that possible? Because you're in the 1%, and your experience has been incredible. It's been an incredible ride, and I've been able to watch some of that. Of course, I've gotten to know you more since you joined Inspiro. What would you say was the number one thing that allowed you to get to that level in your industry?
Well, I think for me, it was kind of a little bit more of a personal level because growing up, we were very poor. We did not have very much money. At one point for a year, we were homeless with my brother and my dad and my mom when I was 16. So
Really?
Yeah. And it was a real struggle, but it wasn't. That's hard to explain because I never felt like we didn't have anything, even though we didn't. But I just, my parents were amazing, and they somehow navigated us through that without having that feeling of literally not having a home. So,
Right.
but on the other hand, it gave me the drive to make sure that I never was in that position again. So I think that's what really pushed me. I mean, I remember when I first started the business, of course, I was a receptionist and then I went to a processor. I was the world's worst processor ever. Operations is not my thing. It's definitely in sales. Um,
Right.
Sitting behind a desk and typing all day long was not my gig. So
Right. Right.
but there's times in the day, and you probably remember these days when you'd write a check and you'd rip the number at the bottom so it wouldn't go through for 2 or 3 days.
Been there and
I
done
did that.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
And I remember, and the reason I bring that up is because I remember thinking at that particular point when I'm ripping my checks, so they had to put them aside and put in, I thought, I do not want to go down this road. I want to make sure that I have a life for me and my daughter and my family. And so it just something snapped in me. And that's when I decided actually to move to Utah, which was really funny because it was not a place that I would have picked normally. But I had a family emergency that brought me here. Did not know a soul in Utah. So I'm thinking, what am I doing? I have no sphere of influence at all, but it just
Interesting.
felt right to do it. And so I became a loan officer for the first time when I moved to Utah. So before I was in the business, but not as a producing loan officer.
So you started at ground zero with really no sphere of influence.
1996. Yes. Yes.
Okay. And I want to fast forward to your apex. Your best year, how many loans did you close?
Gosh, I think it was 480.
480. Now, let's give some perspective for the real estate agents who are watching this and may not understand that translation. That is effectively doing 480 real estate transactions in a year. It's effectively the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm literally talking to somebody who's done nearly 500 transactions in a single year. That's incredible.
Yeah. Thank you.
It is. No, it really is. It's incredible. And hence you're in the top 1%. So how do you go from not having a sphere of influence to getting to that level of production?
Well, when I first moved to Utah, like I said, I did not know anybody. So, and this was back in the day when, people were doing a lot of open houses. I mean, they still are, but back then you'd have to go to the newspaper, right?
Right.
To
Right.
find open
Go to the
houses.
classifieds.
Yeah, there wasn't social media. There was none of that. It was like old school.
Well, that was our social media. The Salt Lake
Yeah.
Tribune and the Deseret News.
The news, totally, totally.
Right.
So every Saturday and Sunday morning, I would get up and I'd go to the office at 6 a.m. and I'd look at the newspaper of the open houses. I'd look at Salt Lake County for Sunday, and then I do Utah County and Davis County on Saturdays. And I would do a flyer that did FHA conventional VA loans with payments and closing costs. And then I'd put the agent's information in one corner, mine in the other corner, and then the house information in the middle of it, the page. And I'd staple my card, and I took a big cooler full of waters and sodas and 10 open houses on Saturday and 10 open houses on Sunday, just trying to meet agents. And I'd go in with my 10 flyers for that particular house and a soda or water. And, a lot of times agents aren't doing a lot when they're at the open houses. There's time where they're at lapse, where people are coming in. So I was able to talk to them. I did that for 6 months. I didn't get my first deal for 4 months.
Right.
Every Saturday and Sunday. So it wasn't an overnight success by any means, but I just didn't give up. I just kept going. And I think that's a big thing for people is I think giving up on yourself
Right.
and quitting. You might be just around the corner from so much success if you just keep trying and keep going. Ironically, I got that one deal and I closed it on my 6th month. So I got one deal in 6 months that I got paid on.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
So in 6 months, you did one deal. Do you remember what you did in the following 6 months?
I do, because I was approached by a title agent that I worked with, and she said, DR Horton is looking to get new preferred lenders. You should really go talk to them. And I was thinking, I really don't know what I'm doing that much. I mean, I know the business, but It was very,
Well, but pause for a second.
okay.
Yes, but you were in the business for 6 months at that point, and somebody suggesting to you that you go to a national builder
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, I'm your gal. I know what I'm doing."
Yeah. And I really
Interesting,
fake it till you make it. Let me tell you that.
right?
Yeah, I
So
did.
you go have this conversation.
Yeah. So I called the guy, I think it was Russ Tolbert at the time. And
Okay.
he brought me in and we interviewed, and they hired four of us. So four of us total as preferred lenders at D.R. Horton. I was ecstatic. I was so excited. And D.R. Horton would, they've always been pretty big regularly, right? They're big now, but they were even big back then. And so I started doing loans with D.R. Horton. Within 6 months, the other three preferred lenders were gone, and I was the only preferred lender. So,
Okay, so pause there because there's an opportunity for everybody to observe something there. You said something about, I wrote it down, don't give up. So you're obviously a person who perseveres. I know that by the fact that we're close and I watch how you charge through challenges. But what was the difference? Why is it those three left and you were the last woman standing, so to speak?
well, I can't speak for them, but I know that every deal that came in, I made sure that it was perfectly processed with my team. And, a team's huge too, right? I've always had an amazing team behind me. Um, in the beginning, it was by myself, but I always had good processors. And as I've gone through my career, I always make sure I have good people because good people are everything, right? They make you look good. At the time, I was working around the clock because I wanted to have this account. I was destined for this account, and I knew it and I felt it. So I don't know what they did wrong, but I think I did everything right at that particular point because I was
I
killing
love
myself to do
I
it.
love that. No, that's great. So when you say that you feel like you did everything right, so kind of outline that. What do you think that led to that? And then what's interesting is that became a springboard for additional relationships of that caliber,
100%. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I just took every loan I did as my last loan with them. I made sure that my customers were well taken care of, that I talked to them throughout the process, overly communicated to them, over communicated to D.R. Horton. I was in their sales meetings on Mondays going through our list of, I just wanted to make sure that I was going to be their person.
Yeah. Okay. So communication's been an important part of your experience.
Huge. I think anybody that knows this, that's ever worked with me, is I answer my phone. Unless I'm in a meeting, I answer my phone. That has been, to me, one of my biggest success is it doesn't matter if it's a Saturday, Sunday, it doesn't matter if it's 10 o'clock at night, I'm answering my phone. And if I'm in a meeting, my amazing assistant, Maddie, is at her desk. And if I'm not available, she will answer her phone.
Right.
I think that is huge for agents that are trying to get a deal, excuse me, and it's Saturday afternoon and they need approval letter. I'm answering my phone. I want to make sure that those clients are not missing out on a house because I'm out.
But hold on a second. The businesswoman who does as many as 480 transactions in a year is still picking up her phone on a Saturday?
100%.
I love that.
Yes, absolutely. I have a staff that works really hard Monday through Friday, like very hard. I have no problem taking the weeknights and the weekends so that they can enjoy their family. And I'm so used to doing it and I love it. I really do love what I do. So it's not a big
No,
deal.
I can tell you do. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is obvious. And you wouldn't do it as long as you have if you
No.
didn't enjoy it.
No.
So what do you say to an agent who says, well, first of all, I don't have a big team around me. I don't have these people who I employ who can do all of the minutia on a daily basis. You obviously you didn't start there.
No.
You had to add people there.
Yeah.
How do you do that? What allowed you to get to the point where you have that machine that you have the Britneys, you have the Maddies, you have the Jessicas, you have the Marys. How did you get to that point?
Well, I think you kind of look at your business. You get to a point where you're like, do I want to go further with my business or do I want to stay right here? Staying right here is great. If that's what you want to do, absolutely, and go for it. But for me, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to drive my business. I wanted to get more business. I wanted to create something bigger for me. And I like challenges. That's my personality. And for me, not doing that would have obviously been backwards for me. But you do have to come to a point where you're like, do I want to grow or do I want to stay right here? And so that's a personal thing. I think for me, I wanted to grow. I wanted to, at one point we were closing 65 loans a month. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
you know, and actually on that number, I lied. It was 617. I got a text message.
I love it. That is incredible. Oh, that's
I'm not
great.
a numbers person. You know what? I never have, because it always makes me
Mo-
compare myself. And so I just don't pay attention to that. And maybe that's one of my reasons I succeed, is because I just don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, no, you are wired like all great salespeople to focus on people and relationships, and that's no
That's why I have
surprise.
Brittany. She does the numbers, not
Yep,
me.
that's great. And your numbers person said, "Yo, hold on, timeout, 617."
Yeah.
So I wrote down the don't give up, and then I just put a note here to remind myself to ask you this: how do you do that? How do you not give up on this process? Because I gotta believe, despite the way you've described it, there's a lot of detail in a 40+ year career where there was a lot of setback, a lot of challenges, a lot of different markets. How did you get through all of those challenges that come with being new in the business and then dealing with economies, dealing with personal challenges? How do you not give up? What is it that you held on to that allowed you to persevere where most don't?
Oh, that's a great question. I feel like, well, like even the example with DR Horton, it was literally what, 7 months I landed at, it was around the corner. If I hadn't worked for those 6 months. And so I think for me, it was past what I've done in the past and where I've gone. And I remember, in 1999, when rates went overnight from 6% to 8.5%, like I remember those days where we're struggling trying to qualify people, adding their parents. It was an overnight rate increase.
Right.
And you know what? You just think about, for me, I think about my clients. I think about how they feel, try to put myself in their shoes. And I feel like, yes, the money's great, because we all know the harder you work, the more you make. So but that's not really what drives me. But I think that because I take care of my clients, I take care of my people, that comes with it. Right.
Okay.
And so that drives me too, just because of where my family came from. I just never want to be in that position. So I think when we go through the even flows of this business, that's when you want to work the hardest, honestly. Yes, you're going to work hard when it's busy because you're busy, but really where you want to put your time and effort in is in markets like this.
Right. Okay. So I hear what you're saying. Why? What's the result of working in a market like this as compared to saying, hey, I'm going to wait until the market improves, because then that's when I'm really going to get the results that I'm looking for. It's difficult, or it's impossible, a lot of people would say, to get the results that we would want in and could get in a better market.
Right. I feel like again, it's such a personal thing for me. I do it because I obviously love what I do, but I also get out there and talk to more people in this kind of market, because when the market does switch, I'm not a refi person. I'm a purchase person. All of my agents know that when the refis happen, their purchasers are taken care of. The refis are second. And I think when you make those relationships, and when it does switch over, your agents will see what's most important to you. And that's taking care of your buyers and your real estate agent. Those are my clients.
Right. And so if it is a slower market, you don't abandon the relationships. You maintain connections with those relationships, because you know that ultimately when the market shifts, those people are going to come back to you and say, we're ready to rock and roll. We want to do something.
Exactly. And you want to see what you can do to help them succeed in these markets too, right? Because they're struggling. So, you get that partnership and say, what can we do together to help both of our businesses? Is it, getting together and calling our SOI together, whatever that is.
Right.
I want to be there for them. And I say that to my agents a lot. What can I do to help you, to this week? Or what can I do to help you succeed, feel better about yourselves? Because you know what? It is depressing. It is very hard.
I love what you just said there. Helping them feel better about themselves. I firmly believe that as leaders in our industry, right, or industries in our professions, that it's our responsibility to lead people, to cast a vision of what the future can look like, and to get them out of what most people get into, especially in markets or economies like we've seen. And I say economies, meaning the economy of real estate that we've all watched over the last 3 years has been challenged, that it's easy to get depressed. It's easy to get downtrodden. It's easy to just get disengaged and say, well, I guess I'll just wait, right? And nobody's immune to that. We're all susceptible to that.
Oh, absolutely. I still go through it. Like, but I had a conversation with an agent 2 weeks ago that said, I'm so depressed and this is so hard. I can't focus. I can't see through the weeds. And I said, I know how you feel. I've been there plenty of times in my career. Trust me, I know. And they said, you know how that feels? I said, I do know. Like, I think sometimes people think people are untouchable. Absolutely not. We all go through it. There's been times where I'm just, probably 2.5 years ago, I'm like, this is the hardest market I've ever been in. 2 years, and it continues to be the hardest market. And I'm saying that I started in mortgages at 17%. I've seen, the 08s, and the 1999 was rough, and the 08s. And I still feel like this is the hardest market we've ever been. It's just not with the market. It's also with people, right? People are really struggling with everything going on in the world. And I think that you just have to really, really listen to what they say and figure out what their hot button is so that you can be there for them.
Yeah, yeah, so important. You got to be that voice of hope, that of power, of direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I have friends that I can go to when I'm feeling that way, because I do feel that way. You know what I mean? So you talk it out, and then you get it out of your system, and then you move on.
So surrounding yourself with people who are going to share a positive, powerful message with you as well.
Absolutely. It's really important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have those days too. So you just kind of back each other up.
Right. Right. So how do you maintain your consistency? Because to get to the level of production that you're at, you're obviously very consistent. How do you do that? What are you doing on a daily basis for yourself to maintain that mental and therefore, as a result, your physical actions
Sure.
consistency, like doing the right things?
Right. So I'm like the world's worst meditator. I try. I still do it, but I do it more with the breathing than I do it with meditation, because
Because you would say that you're ADHD. You're like
my
all
mind
over the place.
like
Yeah.
the second I can be calm, and the second I sit down and meditate, ding, 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 like everything's going everywhere. So
Right.
not very good at, but I do breathing a lot. I do Pilates a lot. I exercise, super important. I try to get in the sun, because I think sun's super, the vitamin D is really good for you. So on a daily basis, that's how I take care of myself.
Yep.
I always make sure I'm doing self stuff, because I think if you don't take care of yourself, then you're never going to take care of other people either. So I do make a point of it to make sure I do that kind of stuff on a daily basis of some sort. I do journal. I'm a journaler, only because for myself, right? Because I can go back sometimes and read when I am depressed. I go back and read the good days, and then I get excited again. And I'm like, okay, let's go do
I
this.
love that.
We can do this.
So you're constantly aware of how you're feeling, and if there needs to be a checkup from the neck up, a change in your mentality, you go back and you read what you wrote in your journal that's positive to get you reframed.
Absolutely. There's not a person in this world that doesn't get there. If you're saying you do, you're not telling the truth, or you don't. You're not.
100%. I agree with that.
Yeah.
You're lying to yourself and everybody else you tell that to.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody gets in a funk.
Yeah. It's not a question of whether you're going to be in a funk. The question is how long you're going to stay there.
Exactly. And that's the biggest part. You've got to pull yourself out fast, or you won't see between the weeds, right? It's too hard to pull yourself out.
Right.
The weeds get too high.
Yep. Yeah. So when you talk about daily activities in terms of mindset, you would say surrounding yourself with the right people, making certain you're having conversations with people who are optimistic and can help you through those challenging times. You also talk about journaling. What else? Do you listen to? Do you read? Do you watch things?
Yeah. I don't physically read, but I listen to books on audio, of course.
Okay.
And I love to get more information. My dad always said the smartest people in the world are the people that read. And he read about 1 billion books, and he was like the smartest person I know. So yes, I believe that. And you know what I do? For me, I mean, I do listen to books because they're important, but I'm more probably somebody that writes stuff down more than anything. You know, I know that you're writing a book. I don't know if people know that, but
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Thank you.
I kind of started one myself too. So it's been keeping me really busy doing that. And it's really one for just myself. I'm not writing it to sell or anything like that.
Well, but pause for a second. I know a lot of your personal story, and my opinion is you should write it for others to be able to read, because if you can share that incredible story, because I think a lot of people don't know. I mean, the fact that you were adopted, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and there's an incredible story with that. And we don't have a lot of time to get into the detail there, but it wasn't an easy experience. There's a lot in your childhood that you've glossed over, quite frankly, because if I think that if people really knew how you grew up, I mean, you kind of skirted around it about being homeless for some time, but to get into the detail, I think that their perspective on, oh my hell, that
Yeah.
she had that experience, and now she's this person who can do as many as 617 transactions a year, and talk about how, she does that coming from that experience. That it's an incredible story. So what I would say is, for the benefit of others, I think you should, quite frankly. I think that you should write it for others, because it's an incredible story.
Thank you. Well, I'll write it and then I'll let you read it and then you tell me.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you know this, I would help you any way that I can. And I think that where I am, at least in terms of my book, is I've this weekend really probably finished the manuscript to about 95%. So I'm that close to it. So I can give you at least what I've learned up to this point about the process. But let me ask you this, because you're talking about what you do to stay engaged in the game mentally and physically. What are your non-negotiables? What are the things that on a daily basis, like that, I don't negotiate that away? These are the things that I know that I have to do either for myself or for others in order to get the results that I want for my life.
Not a go. No, gosh. Um, I would say, well, on a business wise, non-negotiables are we don't miss closing dates.
Okay.
Ever, ever, and not on our fault. You know what I mean? Like if
Right.
something
You
happens,
might miss one, but it's not because your team dropped the ball.
not one. No, I have not missed a closing in over, I bet 17 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we just don't. And my team is so fantastic at staying on those dates. And we know how important it is to real estate agents. It's not even that, the people to get in their houses, right? I don't
Right.
have to be that person that says, sorry, you're not getting in this weekend. And I think part of that is we've upfront underwrote our mortgages for, gosh, let's see, 17, 18 years. Started upfront underwriting everything. So before I issued an approval letter, that file has been through underwriting, through an underwriter, and I have an approval. So
Right.
basically, I'm waiting for a title report and appraisal. Since we started doing that, it's been almost fail safe, right? Because we know if there's problems, we know up front
Right.
what's
You know,
going on.
I'm writing this down as you're saying that. One of the things that I've observed about you that is very unique, I've never seen anybody who does this to the level that you do, having a very clearly defined process and system, and then making certain that you follow that. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming that that's a process and a system that's been derived over the course of many years, of decades, right? That it's always under improvement, but I watch you, how you have that, and that you stick to it. And so it reminds me of the phrase that the success is in the details.
Absolutely. And I've underwritten 17 years up front for existing, but before that, since 1996, or really 1997, I've been writing up front for the builders, right? Because the builders required that. And
Right.
and then about, I don't know, 17 years ago, I'm like, why am I not doing this for existing? Why am I protecting the new construction buyers and not protecting the existing? It just really had never come up, right? Or
Right.
thought of. But since we started doing that, I know that other real estate agents out there, when they're having offers on homes and they see my approval letter, they know that file's been underwritten.
Yeah.
It helps my buyers get in a better position knowing that they know who I am.
So as a businesswoman, let's set aside loan officer. I mean, the fact is you're a businesswoman. You're operating a business that generates a lot of revenue and
Yeah.
employs several people.
Yeah.
And you've done that successfully for decades. What business advice would you give to any business owner? And that would include, of course, real estate agents. It would include other loan officers. It would include anybody who could, home inspector. It doesn't matter what they do. What are some of the basic business principles that you would say have been absolutely critical to your success?
Sure. I think first of all, believe in yourself. I think it's super important. If you
Okay.
have that belief in yourself, then nobody else is going to believe you. I think when you are raw and honest and have integrity, people will feel that. It shows. If you don't have it, they'll also feel that. So just when I say believe in yourself, because when you do believe in yourself, then you do have that integrity, right? Because of your own belief. And
Well, that's interesting. So I'll pause for a second. You say that you can or you do believe in yourself because you set these standards and then you live by them. It doesn't mean that you always hit them, but
no, I failed lots of times.
Right.
I failed lots of times, but if you don't set them, then you're
Right.
really going to fail.
Okay, so set the standard, then you strive every day to hit those standards. And because you do that, then you live within integrity.
100%.
And because you live with integrity, then you can present to people this person who believes in herself because you live by your standards. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean that every time you hit the mark, but you live by your standards.
Yeah, and they feel that confidence level, right? Because and then that makes them feel more confident. The buyers were like, I'm in good hands. She knows what she's doing. She talks to me like a person. I listen to what their concerns are, and it does make a huge difference. But yeah, if you don't set standards for yourself and goals for yourself, I mean, sometimes I'll set daily goals. I just think it's super important. Yes, have I not met them all the time? Absolutely, but I'm setting them all the time.
Did you always believe in yourself? And do you have moments where maybe you don't?
That's a great question. Yeah, I think I kind of did always believe in myself. That doesn't mean I was making it happen. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't mean
Mhm.
because you can believe in yourself. There's also belief, but you have to act on it, right? You have to do your act.
What you said is very important because I watch a lot of people in real estate. I've been doing this for 32 years. A lot of people who believe in themselves, and so they do a lot of talking, but it never translates into what you just said, which is action. So then it comes down to the question of, well, then is there really belief there, or is it just lip service to the idea that I believe in myself? Because what I find is that those who truly believe in themselves will take the action because they're not afraid to miss the mark, to make mistakes, to maybe miss the shot, but they keep trying, to your point, which is interesting because I think it goes back to your early story of you were given an opportunity by D.R. Horton. You were one of four, three fell aside, and you were the lone woman standing. Well, I think it has a lot to do with you just simply took the right action, the others didn't. And for whatever reason, they weren't getting the results, because if they were getting the results, would they have backed out? Would they have fallen away? And the
No.
answer is, of course not.
Right.
So I think you've said something that's very critical there, that to believe in yourself isn't just saying that you do, you have to actually then follow it up with what? Action.
And don't live in fear. Fear is not a good place to be in. I've been in it before. And everybody fears something. Again, you'd be lying if you said you didn't,
Right.
but living in that space too long, again, is really hard. If you feel that way, it's normal to feel that way. Just get yourself out of it, because the fear is going to paralyze you in a lot of ways.
100%. And yet that's easier said than done. So how do you do that? How do you, Marylee Gilchrist, not live in fear? Because you're human.
Yeah. No, I've done it before, but I don't like it. I hate it so bad. I just won't let it happen anymore. I literally let it go. There's a book by David Hawkins called Letting Go. It's one of my favorite books because he talks about letting go, and it's such a hard thing. It seems so easy, but it's so not. So if you let go, and that's in so many places in your life, not just fear, but so many places, it will make a difference.
Well, how does that translate for you when you say let it go? What
Um,
did that look like for you?
Literally have to let the fear go. I literally say to myself, this is not serving you. This is not helping you. This isn't going to change the end result. The end result is going to be whatever you put into it. And that's going to be the end result. So if you can fear it and worry about it, it's not changing where you're going. It
Right.
actually is going to hinder where you're going.
Yeah. To that point, I will often say to people, fear is there. It's a component of life. It's a force of life. The question is, will we let fear control us, or we will control fear, right? I like the analogy of it's like being in a dance. You can be in a dance with fear and let fear lead the dance, or you can dance with fear and you can take control and go where you want to go,
Like that. That's awesome. Yeah.
right? So it's not to say that I don't experience fear, because I do every single day.
Oh, of
It is
course.
there with me, and I believe that will always be there. The question is, will I let fear control the dance, or will I control?
Yep. Exactly. I love that.
Okay, so I wrote this down. You said belief in self is one of the business principles that you would share. What else would you share?
Systems, like really,
Okay,
like, if you want a time block, I'm not a time blocker. A lot of people are time blockers. I do better just winging it. That's just how I've always done it. But other people do really well in time blocking. Know who you are. Know what you can handle. What's the best system for you? Because
okay, so pause there for a second. And I think it's fair to say that you're able to do that more because you have people on your team who do the things that definitely have to be done, that have to get done. You're expressing yourself as a true blue businesswoman who is an expressive, who is a people person. Your best skill is being with people,
yeah,
right?
not on a computer. No.
Right. And so when a client calls, when an agent calls, or a customer calls, you're going to pick up the phone, you're going to be there for them. And that puts you all sorts of places. And yet at the same time, you were at a point in your career where you didn't have all those resources, all of those people around you, and you had to time block. You had to set aside the time. You were in the office at 6 a.m. You were looking through the classifieds. You were time blocking, saying, well, I'm going to go to this open house, and I'm going to go to this open house. I'm going to go to this open house. And what is interesting is, I would just observe this, just as a funny aside, that you decided to be in Utah County on Saturdays and in Salt Lake County on Saturdays, because if you went to Utah County on Sundays, you weren't talking to people
No.
because they were in church.
Room.
Right. So there is the time blocking that is important, but
It
for
is.
you as a salesperson, that you're going to be very responsive to the people.
Yeah. And when I say put systems, I had my own systems when I first started where I didn't have people to help me, right? My systems were
Right.
and systems that worked for me best. I mean, you really, honestly, for me, and I know for others, yes, you have to be dedicated. You have to work hard. You have to believe in yourself. But really, honestly, it's what you put into that. I'm telling you, whatever you put in, you get out.
Yeah, which is so true. The key to that, of course, is to put into it consistently, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
It's not, I mean, here's the thing. Those three other loan officers probably did a lot of the right things for some time, right? But they didn't do it consistently. We know that for a fact, because here's the thing. After 6 months, three of them were gone.
Yeah, and I think people get overwhelmed, right? Like maybe you get 3 contracts in one day, which is amazing, but then people get overwhelmed and they sometimes drop the ball. It just the consistency of making sure, yes, you're going to be busier sometimes and less busier other times, but still stay consistent to make sure that you're taking care of what you need to take care as a business person, or.
Okay, so having said that, at the business level, but knowing that the majority of the people who are watching this are real estate agents, they're salespeople, you're a salesperson. In terms of systems, what would you say to a real estate agent? Like, this is the system that you need
Well,
that applies both to your business as well as theirs.
yeah, just make sure you're getting on the phone, you're following up, time blocking to call the RSOI, like that part, like every day, like again with D.R. Horton. I mean, I'll drive that home a little bit again, because for 6 months I had one deal. I literally, I can't tell you how many times I did not want to get in that car, and I was sad and depressed about it. And I pulled up to the next house knowing that it'll probably be a turn down, but I was going to do it anyway.
Mm.
10 times every Saturday and Sunday, only usually one maybe was a good experience. Like, it was trying to make new relationships with people did not know me. You know what I
Why,
mean? So, but
why didn't you give up? Why didn't you give up in those moments?
because I had no money.
Okay. So that you had no money. That's a raw answer. It's an honest answer.
Yeah.
It's like if you didn't do it, there wasn't going to be any money and you needed
Yeah.
the money just simply to survive. It wasn't about, well, I want to live in this great house and drive this nice car. It was like, I didn't have any money.
Yeah, I had no money. Yeah, when I moved to Utah, I had $1,800 in my pocket. So
So what I hear you saying is that it doesn't matter what your motivation is as long as you have some motivation. You got to
Yeah.
find out what it is that's going to motivate
yeah,
you.
for me, it was living. My motivation now is very different, right? My motivation is because I really love what I do. I love helping people in homes. I love first-time home buyers. And a lot of people hate working with first-time home buyers. I love them because
Yeah.
guess what? They're going to buy again, and they're going to buy again, and they're going to buy again.
Right.
And you just, for me, that was probably what that keeps me now is I really do love helping people and the relationships I've made. And my employees, my team are just, I love working with them every day too. And I like watching them succeed and do really well too. And loan officers that I work with in Spirit, I love seeing them succeed. It's fun.
Yeah, it's interesting because I watch you and you spend a great deal of your time contributing. I mean, and this is a very good example of that. You've allowed yourself to get to a point where you have the luxury of really consciously on a daily basis contributing to others, not just in terms of what you do in the business, but going the extra effort and spending time with people to help them to grow their business.
Absolutely. I always tell every one of my employees, please surpass me. I would love it. It'd be awesome. Because who
Yeah.
would, because you'd be part of it. So
Right. You made a difference.
yeah, and I've had loan officer assistants have moved on in this market and have done really well. And I smile every time I see it.
So I'm going to ask two questions. There are many things I know that you could talk about, but it's the follow-up question that I'm interested in hearing. I may surprise you with this, but the first question is, what do you think you do well? And the follow-up to that is, what do you think you don't do well?
Okay. What I do well is I think talking to people, making relationships. I love to find out something new about people all the time. I actually ask them the questions because I am interested, not just going through the motions. And I think people know that, and they see that again, the character integrity of she really wants to know about me, and I do care about people.
It's interesting you say that, and the more you do it, the more you practice it, the easier it is for you to focus on people, right? But think about your 6 months into the business self. You were 6 months doing it, and you didn't know what to say. You didn't really understand the process, right? Not just the process of how to get in the business, but the process of how to oversee a deal, right? At least not to the extent that you understand it now. And yet you did that.
Well, it's funny because that's about the same time that I met George when he decided he wanted to do mortgages, and I was helping him and actually John Hunter. Some people on here might know John Hunter, but
This was back in the Beacon Hills day, yeah, right?
yeah, and training them. But it goes back to even watching what they were doing, like and they decided this is what they wanted. Went into real estate, super smart, right? They have been very successful in real estate. So I just think that I laugh about that time. But yes, when I was back doing that, I was working a lot of hours. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say it came easy. It didn't come easy at all, but there was pride in it for me. And I felt, proud of myself and what I was doing. And that helped me actually get better at what I was doing, because as you work hard and you learn it and you remember it, and then you get your confidence level, and then it just kind of
builds on itself.
That's from there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's like a critical mass.
Yeah.
Right? But you to your point, you have to stay engaged in it. You can't look left or look right, and that's not easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy.
I was in it completely, 100%.
Right.
Both feet in, for sure.
So what would you say you don't do well?
I'm not as good at calling on my SOI as I should.
Okay.
That's probably my biggest downfall. Not that I don't call them, but I could call them more. And
well, here, let's observe this. You have very high standards, because if you didn't, you wouldn't get the sort of results that you've gotten. And yet it's so interesting that even somebody who can do as many as 617 transactions in a year, says she doesn't call her sphere of influence enough. And that's probably the number one conversation I have with any real estate agent, is that particular conversation. So I think it's important for everyone listening to observe that and say, okay, well, of course, there's always room for improvement. What could I do differently? And even a top producer can admit that she doesn't do it as much as she knows that she probably should.
Yeah, absolutely. I put the time for it, but then there'll be days that I just, something else comes in, which I think I need to work better on with that little part of time blocking, even at this point in my career, to make sure that I'm setting those hours aside and I'm calling them, because it's easy when business is still coming in to forget how important it is to call them.
Yeah. So we're almost out of time, but there are a couple more questions that I want to ask, and then I want to open it up to questions. But thank you for doing this, by the way.
Gosh,
This has been awesome.
my pleasure.
If you had to start over today with again the way you did in those early months where you had no contacts, what would you do? How would you start in today's world, knowing what you know?
You know what? Honestly, it's a lot of hard work, but again, believe in yourself. It's a lot, like, don't get discouraged. It's easy to get discouraged. Just go out there and make the relationships. I promise you, if you talk to people and communicate with people, it will happen. Like, don't give up on yourself. I promise you, what you put in, it will pay off.
There are a few themes that I'm hearing from you very consistently from the beginning of the call. That phrase, "don't give up." And when I hear that, I hear persistence. Right? So despite the challenges, you've said it multiple times, it's not easy. And despite that, you've kept going. And that's so true about quote unquote champions, people who succeed at whatever it is that they do. They don't give up despite the challenges, because here's the thing. Have you won every time?
No.
In fact, if you take a look at your career, which is, spans 40 plus years, 40, 4 decades, there's probably been a lot of losses in that period of time, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. But you just pick yourself up and you keep going.
So the other word that I wrote down is consistency. Just
100%.
being consistent at doing the right things, the things that you know that you need to do.
Make yourself successful. Just be consistent at those, whatever it is. And sometimes during one week to another week, it might change for me, right? My goal will be different that week. So I have to be consistent in that goal that week. So sometimes you will change up your goals, but just be consistent in what you feel is important to make your business thrive. And another thing too is, I said I always answer my phone. When you're answering your phone and you're in the middle of whatever, lagoon with your grandkids, whatever it is, if you're going to answer it, make sure that those people on the other end know that they're the most important thing in the world. Doesn't matter where you're at, that you're not feeling like they are interrupting your life and I always look at everything as, when I do stuff, is I can afford this. It's one loan. Like, that's what I always do. Like, I can go on vacation. It'll cost me 3 loans. Like, I was like that. So
I love that.
Well, yeah. So I'm like, I can go to this for the weekend because I have 3 loans closing. But I also, when I'm on vacation or I out for the weekend and I get that phone call, I'm like, well, there's one of my loans right there. I'm answering it, making sure they're feeling super. So I think that that's really big too, because I think a lot of people, when they're engaged with their family, which I understand they should be engaged with their family, but if you are going to answer that phone and step away for 5 or 10 minutes, just make sure you're engaged with whoever that conversation is, because I think it's really important to keep buyers. They'll know that.
Yeah. Well, I would say spoken like a true salesperson, but also somebody who I know generally cares about other human beings. So very well said. So let's open it up for questions of those who've been patiently waiting for 45 minutes, and see what questions they have to ask, because I'm certain that there are some. So, gang, if you've got questions, I would ask those questions now. This is a great opportunity because you got somebody who has absolutely for decades been knocking it out of the park, and I know she's got some great counsel and advice to give to some great questions. So what questions do you have? We'll give him a minute, Marylee, because I know that it's going to take a second to get people off mute. I've got a question here from Becky Rodriguez. How do you deal with burnout?
Oh, I have done that before for sure. That's a great question. For me, I make sure that I do something that's important to myself once a day, even if it's stepping out and breathing. I've actually gone in my car for 10 minutes and just sat in my car and listened to music sometimes. Like, just pick something that you know that gives you some energy back. Breathing works for me, helps me get back to my headspace. But yes, that's such a great question, because I have burnout a lot. You just have to take care of yourself too. And that's hard because you're trying to do everything for your family, your business, and your buyers or your clients. So the best way I would say is just make sure you're taking care of yourself too.
Yeah, I like that. You're really interrupting a pattern, taking a mental and a physical a break from whatever's going on to do a reset. And if you have to do it multiple times a day, that's okay.
Yes, I absolutely.
You,
And
you may have some days where it's not necessary, and other days where it's got to happen multiple
yeah,
times, right?
I've got up and closed my office door and just took a 5-minute breather. You know what I mean? And just,
You too?
oh yeah, I still do.
Right. Yeah, no, I relate to that. I
Yeah,
identify with that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
really.
no, that's a great question and great advice. Okay, anybody else? Come on, gang. It's a great opportunity. That was a great question, Becky. So whether you want to ask a question through the chat or speak up, go ahead and ask a question because we've got just a couple of minutes left. Going once.
Hello. This is Luz.
Luz,
Hey,
yeah, go ahead.
how do you deal with? We are always being told to do something even though you don't want to do it. How do you get the strength, the energy to actually keep moving that way when you don't want to do something and you know you need to?
That's actually a great question because it's kind of along with the burnout too. There's days, I mean, I am not perfect by any means. There are days where I don't want to do things, but you know what? Then I think about who is it going to affect? Is it going to affect me? Is it going to affect somebody else? If it affects somebody else, that usually pulls me out of it because I don't want to let anybody down. It's just my personality. So, you don't have to do what you don't have to do. You can choose what's important to you. But I feel like choosing, if it has, again, something to do with somebody else, it's easy to choose that for me.
That is such a powerful answer. I love that. So stop thinking about yourself. I will oftentimes say to agents in coaching sessions, when they're worried about, for example, how their sphere of influence is going to respond to them calling them when they haven't talked to them for a year or 2 years, my statement to them is stop being selfish. Because what it tells me is that you're thinking about yourself as opposed to that person on that list of phone calls that you should be making, right? So in that moment where you're feeling that way, you're really focused on yourself as opposed to the person you should be focused on, which is the person who needs to hear from you, who could be blessed by what you know, what you understand, or just simply a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's such a great question, Luz. I've got, we'll finish with this conversation. Becky asked, when should you let a client go?
Oh, that's a great question. I have done that. You know, what's funny is I've had not a lot of bad clients, but there's always going to be that 1% out there that I've had people not necessarily treat me bad, but treat my employees bad. And then I get on the phone with them and they're rude and not respectful. And I can tell that the relationship is going nowhere. I actually say to them, you know what, look, I'm sorry that I'm not being the person you need me to be. I think it would be better for you to maybe work with someone more aligned with you. And do you want me to suggest someone, or would you like, to find someone on your own? And the funny thing about that is the minute you say that, they'll get off the phone and they will not go away. They're your best client ever.
They'll start to self-correct, won't they?
Oh my gosh, it's hysterical. I'm firing you. Go away. And they don't. Honestly, they will be your best client ever once they realize that you're not going to put up with them treating you disrespectfully, and you kind of put them in check.
Well, what you've done is you've given them the opportunity to save face and actually correct their behavior, because what they realize in that moment is that you had an opportunity to blame them and yet you didn't. You said, I take ownership of this. I can't be who you need me to be.
Correct.
And as a result, they get the opportunity to own their behavior, which is so powerful. That is fantastic. Well, that is a great place to end our conversation, Marylee. I mean this sincerely, because you and I get the opportunity. We've had some very great personal conversations, but the fact that you've taken an hour of your time to dedicate to having this conversation and to do it authentically and to benefit others, I mean this sincerely. Thank you for doing that. I know that it's been impactful. I know that it's made a difference in the lives of those who've watched it, and hopefully those who get an opportunity to watch it who haven't. And I would encourage those who've watched to watch it again and take additional notes and to take what you've talked about here and begin to implement those. And if you're already implementing them, to implement them to a greater degree than they already are. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And it was my pleasure.
Okay. All right. I love you so much.
Bye.
Okay. All right. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
I hopped off the plane at LAX with a dream, my cardigan. Welcome to the land of fame excess. Am I gonna fit in? Jumped in the cab, here I am for the first time. Look to my right and I see the Hollywood sign. This is all so crazy. Everybody seems so famous. My tummy's turning and I'm feeling kinda homesick. Too much pressure and I'm nervous. That's when the taxi man turned on the radio and a Jay-Z song was on. And the Jay-Z song was on. And the Jay-Z song was on. So I put my hands up to play my song. The butterflies fly away. Nodding my head like yeah. Moving my hips like yeah. I got my hands up to play my song. I know I'm gonna be okay. Yeah. It's a party in the USA. Yeah. It's a party in the USA. Get to the club in my taxi cab. Everybody's looking at me now. Like, who's that chick that's rocking kicks? She gotta be from out of town.